Okay. Good morning, everybody. My name is Betsy Pridmore. I'm with Capgemini. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning. Hopefully you can all hear. Okay, good. I got a few thumbs up. That's awesome. We're really excited to have this esteemed panelist here with me today. They'll introduce themselves in a minute. But one of the things that I wanted to let you know is just a couple of ground rules. So the panelists are here representing their own points of view, not necessarily the points of view of their companies, their organizations. Also, we do have a mic in the center. We are going to invite you to actually hold your questions to afterwards, after the panel concludes, and we'll be happy to take those on the side. The panelists will stick around a little bit afterwards. But what the mic's for is we're going to have a little audience participation halfway through, so it'll give you a chance to come to the mic and share a quick thought. All right, so let's get started. So first of all, I just want to turn this over to Jolene and welcome Jolene to the stage, and your introduction, please.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Jolene Marshall. I head up sales enablement at FirstService Residential. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone for taking the time to join us for this conversation. And to Betsy and the Capgemini team, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this conversation as well. I've been in business development at FirstService Residential for about 6 years. FirstService Residential is one of the largest property management companies across North America. We manage over 9,200 communities and employ over 19,000 associates. In my role, I support about 80 business development directors. And just to give you some context about what they do, they use Microsoft Dynamics Sales Hub to manage their opportunities. And our sales methodology is rooted in the customer's voice, which simply means our BDDs spend a significant amount of time transcribing those notes into the sales opportunity planner in Dynamics. So when I started my exploration of AI, my focus was to find a way to simplify that note capturing process for our business development directors. We're now in that exciting phase of bringing that to life, so I'm just very excited to be here today to share part of our journey and some of what we've learned along the way. Thank you.
Awesome. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Falcon, over to you.
Well, thank you very much. And first of all, thanks to this lovely audience. It's so early in the morning, and you all showed up. I hope you got your enough dose of caffeine. So thank you for coming. And thank you, Betsy, Capgemini, and Microsoft for having us here at such an esteemed podium with such a diverse panelist. My name is Sagun Patel. I work for Penske Truck Leasing as a software development manager. So Penske has more than 400,000 vehicles running in North America. We are industry leader when it comes to truck leasing, logistics, rental, fleet management, vehicle maintenance. And today I'm here to talk about Penske's journey in adopting GitHub Copilot. I'm going to talk about our planning, our execution, some of the success, some of the lesson learned. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks, Falcon. Appreciate it. And Sajad, last but not least.
All right. I'm 𝗬𝗫𝗫𝗫. Again, thank you, Betsy, for the invitation, and thank you, Capgemini and Microsoft Ignite, to truly honored to be part of this panel. So my role in Johnson & Johnson is heading data technology solution and engineering team. So my responsibilities across different sectors where we enable data products and AI products across medtech and pharma, and also our corporate function like finance and HR. And so our journey within J&J is we started a few years back in AI, and like anybody else, when the ChatGPT came in, we were all excited. So the approach we have taken was more of open-ended approach, where we allow all kind of experimentation and learning. Fast forward, now where we are more focused on value use cases, where we are looking at a smaller number of things versus going broad. But this is our part of the maturity of our journey, where we learned quite a bit in our first 2 years, and now we're ready to roll.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Sajad. Well, we're going to stay with you to answer the first question, but what I hope you get from this panelist is how these, audience, is how these panelists are making it real, right? That's really what we want to share with you. And so you're going to get some really authentic kinds of points of view this morning. And so, Sajad, tell us a little bit about, we're going to start with a tough one, okay?
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk hurdles, right? Because, we know every agentic and Gen AI project goes without any hurdles. It's always smooth. It's super easy, right? That doesn't happen. So what were some of the biggest hurdles, especially when thinking about moving from pilot into an enterprise-wide kind of scale?
Yeah. So let me start off saying that from healthcare perspective, we are the leader in healthcare, and we are deeply committed in reimagining the life of the patient through technology. And when we talk about technology, that means AI and Gen AI is in our front and center of that. Like any other journey, this is also comes with a lot of hiccups, where the first few years, as we said, was more about learning. What we realize as a part of it is not necessarily when we're going to the scale and enterprise-wide, it's not all about technology expansion. This is more about making sure that how we are able to make the difference in patient life and develop those data solutions and AI solutions that can help across the patient and help them transform their lives and the caregivers across the globe. So it means we need to make sure our data solutions and AI solutions are secure and safe and follow the compliance and the rules around it. And that was our biggest hurdle. It was new for us. We involve ethics committee, we involve a security team, and we involve our compliance team to make sure that we have a process in place which we are able to evaluate the risk that comes with that.
Yeah.
Let me drive this message home with maybe an example.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So within our commercial functions, we have our sales rep who goes and visits the doctors and basically talks about call planning and detailing about all the pharmaceutical products that we sell. And in order for them to help call planning, routing, like how many doctors they need to go to and what they need to talk to, we have enabled a pilot, what we call it, rep copilot.
Okay.
It's like our assistant, like, we are using ChatGPT, same thing for our reps, they help that. And the most important thing for us from pilot to production was more about when you are asking a question, it's okay to ask about the routing question, call planning question, but if you're asking a question about off-label use, so for a sales rep, anytime when you talk about off-label use, it's a kind of no-no. So how do you build that guardrails around it to make sure when you're deploying something in production, it has those guardrails so it is able to direct to the right area. So for example, our medical scientific liaison are the one who are responsible for answering it. So for us, when we're scaling certain things, more about compliance and putting guardrails. And in this whole journey, when we are able to ensure that we have those right guardrails in place, then we are able to move to production. So this is where you don't see a whole lot of pilot move to production, but anything that is moving it, need to make sure in regulated industry we have those security and guardrail in place.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, that's critical data, and obviously security is a key component to that. Patient, information, highly sensitive, right? And so making sure that's super secure and you hit those guardrails makes a lot of sense. And a little bit relieving, honestly, as a patient sometimes to know that that kind of care is being taken along the journey. So thanks for sharing that. Falgun, how about you? What is it like at Penske?
So I would start with our example of moving our developers to GitHub Copilot. And obviously, there are so many things that can go wrong when you scale something up from the pilot to the production, right? But two things I would highlight, which we think did really well, which people can take away as a point. So the first thing is the training. So when we saw the success with our pilot, we did not just got the bunch of licenses and gave it to our developers to go and explore and things figure them, by themselves out. We partnered with Capgemini. So we set up the instructor-led sessions. There were multiple waves of sessions. Everybody in software development, they got trained in the latest and greatest of GitHub Copilot. So the training, we all know that training is very important, but that really make it or break it when it comes to the successful rollout. The second thing is the mindset change. So if I were to ask people here that, do you agree that eating healthy and doing regular workout is good for your health? You agree, right? Do you actually put it into practice? Very difficult. I'm not judging anybody. That's personal experience, right? Same thing is with unit testing. So those from the development background, do you agree writing good unit test cases, having good documentation is good for your application? Yes. Do you put it into practice? Not easy, right? So we set up some lower hanging fruit. So that would be easy, and that would be convincing for our developers to start using GitHub Copilot, right? So we started with the unit test case generation. It was very easy to tell the developers that, hey, this is one thing you could outsource to this tool, and hopefully that would make your life easier. So we started seeing the developers' adaptation, engagement increase, our code coverage, and our quality metrics, they all increased by a lot. So I think these two were really two things which we did really well with the successful prod rollout.
That's awesome. Can't underestimate the importance of sharing what's in it for the people that are adopting the technology, for sure. Jolene, you've been very patient. Thank you. We're going to change questions, though.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Sounds
All right.
good.
Yeah, so we know that working with clients, a lot of times it requires some organizational change, right? In terms of embracing this agentic and AI technologies or generative AI technologies. You share a little bit about First Residential and what that's been like in terms of that organizational change?
Yes, thank you. That's a great question. For us, I would say with the excitement around AI, everyone implementing ChatGPT, Perplexity, and other tools, it was important for us to just try to get our people to slow down. So that was one of the biggest cultural shifts we had to make within our organization. As you can imagine, everyone using ChatGPT or other platforms created imaginable risks for us. We even saw where our business development directors started using AI in various parts of the sales process, figuring out ways to automate things that didn't necessarily need automation. So one of the biggest things for our organization was really just trying to clarify our position on agentic AI. For us, technology has to be a teammate, not so much a replacement for our people. So we had to clarify within our organization our stance on agentic AI. We are not for the autonomous aspect of agents. So what we prefer is more the automation to handle the repetitive tasks, but we want to ensure that we're having a human in the loop at all times. We want to ensure that we're managing the agentic AI, so nothing would just be making decisions independent of us. We want to ensure that a human remains in the loop, so that was important for us.
I love the technology as a teammate. What a great phrase.
Yeah.
Is that a tagline for you guys?
Yeah, we learned it at Gartner a few years ago, and it really stuck with us.
I love it. Good on you crediting the Gartner piece there too, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're not off the hook yet. I've got a follow-on question for you. Maybe share with the audience a little bit about how you see the agentic and generative AI reshaping the customer and employee experience. You started to kind of touch that a little bit in your last answer.
Yeah.
So expand on that a little bit.
Yeah, I would say for us, we work a lot with volunteer board members. These board members are certainly not experts at being board members. So they are expecting more from property managers and property management companies. Additionally, post-COVID, we've seen where homeowners, residents are also just expecting more from their management companies. So with agentic and Gen AI, it allows for us to personalize and respond in a much faster way than we've ever been able to do. And I'll just give you an example of what we've done for our board members and residents. We recently launched HODA, which is our homeowner's digital assistant. That is completely powered by AI. And what it does is it allows for homeowners, residents, board members to reach out to HODA for inquiries that in the past they would have had to reach out to their property manager, contact our resident care hotline, or wait for a response. With HODA, now they're able to get those answers much quicker than they've ever been able to do before. We've also made a lot of shifts for our business development directors. We recently launched our new instance of Microsoft Dynamics Sales Hub, And within that, we are taking advantage of relationship analytics. So the AI component of that is bringing up a lot of insights for us with managing our contacts engagement, as well as our opportunities and the health of those opportunities. We've also integrated our Content Hub directly into Microsoft Dynamics, and our Content Hub is powered by AI. So our business development directors no longer need to search for content. They're getting suggestions and recommendations based on where they are in the sales process or some other reason that the AI might have determined. Also, we are using Copilot for Sales a lot more within our organization, just helping our BDDs with meeting summaries and follow-up tasks and so on. But the biggest component, or the biggest change I would say that we've made is within our partnership with Capgemini. We are working on building a BDD notes analyzer that essentially is going to make a world of difference for our BDDs. With this tool, they'll be able to leave a discovery conversation with board members, and depending on their preferred format, they're able to upload those notes. So if a BDD likes to take handwritten notes, they'll be able to quickly snap a picture of that, upload it, and within minutes, they're getting usable information to share across the opportunity team. For those who typically record their meetings, those recordings can also be uploaded in the tool. Again, just making it easy for our teams to move on to the next step. Our goal really is to ensure that our business development directors are able to build a relationship with our board members and really just understand the needs of the community so we can do what we do best in managing properties. So, yeah.
Awesome. I'd like HODA, and we were talking backstage that not yet are you in Washington State, where I hail from, but I'm ready for you to come there.
Yes,
I do a lot of manual things with my HOA, and that sounds amazing. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, before I go back to Sajad, we are going to have an opportunity for you to get up, come to the mic, and share the one word or the one thought about agentic AI in your organization. So if there are a few brave souls that want to make your way to the mic while I ask Sajad this question, feel free to do that. All right, Sajad. So we know that oftentimes we need leadership buy-in.
Yes.
As part of the critical part of not only the initial effort around agentic and generative AI, but all the way through the process, right? To make sure that everything's aligned with the strategy, the corporate goals. Talk to us a little bit about J&J and executive buy-in. How were you able to secure that?
Yeah, so I'm just going to link it back to the earlier journey in terms of when we started off, we have tons of experimentation. So at a given time, we were dealing with more than 1,000 use cases through our governance portal and governance board. And initially, it was perfectly okay to make sure that we go through the learning process, understand technology, upskill our employees. So we invested, it was by design that we wanted to go this way. Fast forward, now where we stand is like, okay, there has to be a framework where we can start evaluating what are the right use cases that need to go to the next level. So within Johnson & Johnson, and I know there are different frameworks out there, we use something called 3E value framework.
Okay.
So it starts for more effectiveness, experience, and efficiencies. So there are solutions that we're rolling out that improve the overall experience of an employee. So when you have questions around, like, your workday, your pay, and all that, so we deployed some kind of agents like that. So how it improves the experience. So when we start applying these three frameworks, it starts leading back into what is the actual tangible business benefit that we can gain. So most of these thousands of use cases we're talking about, maybe only 20% will make it through.
Yeah.
Mainly because those are the 20% use cases are the one that will make an impact in your P&L. So that's the kind of rigorous process that we have in place, where when we are able to tangibly define that value, it's much easier for our executives to buy into it. And the example I used early on about Copilot, Rep Copilot, these are some of the capabilities that start transforming the experience side of it. And more importantly, it has impact on our P&L as well, where you see the uplift on the sales and many of these things that starts coming. So it's much easier for executives to buy into building capabilities like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. All right, did we get any brave souls? I was going to go out to the audience for a second. The question is, what's one word to describe your agentic and Gen AI journey so far? Anybody brave enough to hit the mic and share with us?
Hint, you couldn't say scary.
No one's brave enough. Oh, wait, we've got a taker in the front row. Come on down. You can do it. Awesome. Sorry to put my hand up.
One word?
One word.
Exciting.
Exciting. All right, I love it. Anybody else? Come to the mic. Sorry to put my hand up. It's a little hard to see. Unknown. Okay, risky.
Oh, you couldn't say that, remember?
Can I ask a question quickly?
Yeah, we will definitely get to questions at the end, and we'll do that offside because these guys got us on a tight schedule. So, but we love to take your question afterwards. So hold on to it. Write it down so you don't forget it. Anybody else? I'll repeat them if you just shout it out, so you don't have to get up. Silent group. Say again. Confusion.
Confusion.
All right. Thank you.
Hopefully, after this session, there will be less confusion. That's what we are hoping for.
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Thanks for playing along on that. We just wanted to kind of hear from you because I think it's on a broad spectrum, right? That we're having these experiences as organizations, and we can help each other out, right? And so thank you for sharing that. So Falcon, not risky, not everything was perfect.
Hide, right?
Organizational changes. What did it look like for you at Penske?
So again, I would just make it very generic, right? To implement any idea successfully, it is very important that the leadership is aligned. When everybody in the organization works for the common goal, it just makes it so easier to implement. So with Penske, we are lucky that our leadership was aligned, and then we were ready to push our development team to actually embrace with this AI changes, and then don't be scared. Don't be confused, right? Stay excited for the change. So that played really good role. Another thing I would say is making the calculated risk. We hear stories about AI investments and everything. I'm not here to comment on that. However, what we did in our implementation is we set very small milestone, right? And then we partner with Capgemini in that. Mm-hmm. So we define our success criteria. So our success criteria, we use 3 pillars to measure how well we are doing with the deployment of Copilot to our developers. So that was on the quality. Are our code better in the quality? You could measure that. So it was a measurable goal. So that was good. Has the productivity been increased for our developer? Again, it is a measurable goal. So that was good. And then the third thing was the feedback of the customer, right? So our developers. So we use these 3 parameters to measure our success, and then obviously you should have the right partner. They all should be getting along. So we did not just train Penske software developers when we were rolling out the GitHub Copilot. Actually, we also trained our Capgemini developers who were working on Penske projects. So we did it together. It wasn't just Penske alone. So it's good to have good partner, and then they could watch your blind spot and makes a big difference.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So risk, I heard it in the audience a minute ago. Governance is part of that. Frameworks, how do you kind of set yourself up for success? Jolene, talk to us a little bit about what has it been like to make those considerations, especially around how to scale responsibly in your organization.
Yeah, I think for us, we have over 19,000 associates, and as I mentioned earlier, we saw a lot of isolated experiments with AI just operating everywhere. So one of the biggest hurdles for us was really trying to create a unified and a supported approach where we're able to manage the risks associated with leveraging AI. So our IT department established clear guardrails almost immediately. We implemented a mandatory AI policy, which all associates had to acknowledge. We also now have a mandatory AI training for all associates. We also added an AI hub to our intranet, and the goal of that is to just ensure that everyone understands the safe ways to use AI within our organization, for our residents, for our board members, and ourselves. We also have incorporated an AI governance committee, which the goal of that is to vet all applications with an AI component. We want to ensure that we're protecting our board members, we're protecting our residents, we're protecting our associates. So just having access to certain AI tools have been blocked now intentionally just to ensure that our associates are accessing and using tools that have been approved. The biggest thing for IT when we talk about governance is to ensure that any applications that they're using, they're able to support that. Something breaks, something goes amiss, then if they're not able to support that, it puts our whole organization in jeopardy. So we just want to ensure that we are aware of what's being utilized and have the support structure around that. So that was one of the biggest things we had to manage.
That's quite a complicated process for sure, right? And lots of moving components. And so I appreciate how you kind of took us through that, because I think maybe confusion or, kind of trepidation sometimes around some of these projects. I think you outlaid that really clearly and nicely in terms of not only what you have to consider, but then to make sure that the protection, right, is in place for your associates and so forth.
And for our residents.
And for your residents, yeah, for sure. For sure. So Sajad, same question for you. It looks probably a little bit different in the healthcare industry.
I'll just add more layers to what Jolene said.
That'd be great.
Obviously, you look into make sure that they are compliant, secure, and you have these governance committees and board members. They're looking at it. I think where we have to go even further within healthcare industry is a little bit more rigor. So let me put it this way. In our industry, nobody likes black box. So how do you make this black box to glass box? It's all about. So any technology companies, hyperscaler and other, whoever helping us to make that thing is something that makes us much easier. Our job makes, it makes it much easier. So this is where the partnership with, Microsoft and some of the other hyperscalers, we invest heavily on that one as well. And this governance structure is critical for us, where we are able to review all these use cases and look at it, how well it is implemented, how widely it can be adopted, and more importantly, what is the value that will generate. So within these guardrails, we start looking and evaluating it to put the governance one. So within J&J, more than 140,000 people, tons of use cases. So we started off in a centralized manner initially a few years back, but now what we are turning that governance into more of an accelerator. So we moved this into federated governance model, where we already know what are the approved LLMs and some of these capabilities, where you are able to now accelerate your experimentation and your development. So initially the governance could look like, okay, it's slowing us down, but I think we are turning it around in our journey. Now we are accelerating it with all the learnings we have, all the approvals we had, and so I think that's our journey.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I do think lots of experiences probably amongst our audience, as well as the folks listening online, is that governance can be cumbersome, right? It's critical, it's important, and I think what you demonstrated in that example might take you a little bit to get going in terms of that, but the slow down is necessary for the acceleration.
Absolutely.
And the fact that you've kind of hit that tipping point, if you will, and that it's now an accelerated process is super critical. So if you're in the middle of kind of this journey in your own organizations and you find yourself in that kind of governance slowdown, I would say hang in there, be patient, because the acceleration's coming. And I think that was very well articulated, so thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we have a variety of industries represented on this panel, and I'm sure in the audience as well. And so, Falcon, I want to turn to you and get a little bit of an industry perspective from you in terms of what unique challenges or opportunities even, could be opportunities, have you found have arisen for Penske in terms of your agentic and generative AI approach?
Yep. So now Penske, we are in the transportation industry, right? So we do truck leasing, truck maintenance, truck rental, and we are very niche space. If you go and search out for custom built software for this purposes, there are not many in the market. So 80% of the software is used by Penske that are actually built in-house, and we are proud of that. Now, when you do so much heavy lifting, which impacts directly to your business, if you make your software developers productive, well, that directly adds to the bottom line, right? So when we did this GitHub Copilot, we just like scratched the surface. We deployed it to our software developers, and we saw almost a 13% improvement in the productivity. If somebody asks me what is this percent in the dollar value, I would say we saw on the projects which we piloted with, we saw almost $500,000 saved by moving to GitHub Copilot. So that was huge. And this is just scratching the surface. We are planning to bring the AI into our requirements engineering. We are planning to bring it to our testing engineering. We are planning to do our CI/CD pipeline using AI. So once we introduce AI into the entire SDLC, we think that productivity percentage would go up to 20%. So very excited for that.
So I'm going to throw a curveball at our panelists. I always do that to keep it exciting. Jolene, I'm curious, right, in your industry, what does that kind of look like for you?
I would say for us, we have a lot of growth that we anticipate. I'm specifically in business development, so there's a lot of growth that we anticipate. So when we think about AI and how the opportunity is there, I would say it's definitely endless for us. We have the abilities to serve up data to our business development directors that will help them to make better decisions. And overall, I think it's very similar. We've only scratched the surface with what we're trying to accomplish.
Awesome. All right. Sajad, I'm coming back to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, thanks for the question. For our industry, I think the way I look at it, we categorize into two parts. First, AI for everybody, AI for individual. But the bigger thing where we are looking for the transformation, what we expect from the AI and what we're looking to do across other healthcare industry is how do we transform that space in the drug development. So today it takes probably 8 to 10 years for any drug to come to the market, cost us billions of dollars. And that's not just within Johnson & Johnson, it's across the healthcare industry. So what the hope is with this new technology, can we transform that? So I think this is where the art of possible and a lot of experimentation will go on. And this is what everybody is looking at it, and we are committed to see how we can do the transformation. AI for everybody or individual is something he touched on earlier on as well, that even as a part of your standard software development, how you optimize your SDLC to do that. I mean, we just deployed something this October, just a month back, where 70% of the code now is generated through Gen AI.
Wow.
And that is in production. So these are some big numbers where we see that AI is here, AI is for real. And overall, while we have this, studies showing that only 5% is going to the production and 95% is failing. But in reality, what we see is when you categorize the AI into different buckets, these buckets, AI for everyone, everybody is using it. And the adoption is very high. So I'm super excited with this journey, and hopefully this will transform the healthcare industry.
What do you think it has freed those people to do in your organization now that they've got the AI or the agentic as the teammate, the technology as the teammate? How is that transforming what they get to do on a daily basis?
It's like become a new colleague, right? I mentioned earlier that now, even to come here, like I can ask some questions to help prepare for,
Did you do that?
Like I did that, but
awesome.
Now you have to do the
prompting
and everything. So you have to know what the
That's
right
great.
question is. But no, I mean there is a lot of excitement in that space, and I think we're all looking forward to see how do we transform.
Awesome, awesome. All right, well, Jolene, you kind of get to close us out, except I'm going to throw you guys another curveball at the end, so hang in there with me. These guys have been great sports, I think you'll agree. But let's look into the future. What do you think is next, either for your organization or based on what you've heard already at the conference over the last day?
I would say that with AI, the future is just in our hands. It's for us. So within our organization specifically, I see AI playing an important role. Currently, we're looking at all of our associates essentially having their own Copilot style agent by their role. So when we think about property managers, instead of them having to run certain reports on service trends within a community, an agent should be able to provide that information to them almost instantly. Organization-wide, we are expanding AI in operations, in marketing, resident engagement. I know we touched on HODA earlier, but that's just the beginning. We're planning to develop so much more in-house. And as I mentioned, with our residents and boards just expecting so much of us, there's a lot of intentional use that's been scoped out in our roadmap to satisfy the needs of pretty much everyone. So our residents, board members, associates, we should all have some type of a Copilot style agent alongside of us, just really helping us to be more efficient and productive within our role. So, yeah.
Awesome. Do you want to answer that too? You kind of looked at me.
Did I? I was trying not to look at you.
Okay, no worries. All right, so I'll throw my curveball at you guys. So we put the audience on the spot, and we asked them for one word about how their agentic journey is going. So, Sajad, I'm going to start with you. One word.
Transformative.
Transforming. All right, good. Jolene?
I would probably say the same thing, transformational for us.
Okay. All right. Falcon, do you have a different word?
Optimism.
Optimism. I love it. I love it. Awesome. Well, that brings us to the end of our session today. We are going to step aside and take questions, so we invite you to join us on the side for those questions. But first, before we do that, can you please give a rounding applause for these amazing panelists?
Thank you.
And I'll do a little plug and a teaser, but Falcon's in another session later. Like, I think tomorrow?
Tomorrow, 1
Tomorrow,
p.m.
1 p.m. So if you liked what you heard today, go see him tomorrow at 1 p.m.
Awesome.
And thank you all. Have a great rest of Ignite.
Thank you.
Thank you.